Come join WildBone team member Nate Young as he heads to southern Colorado with C-Bar Z Outfitters to hunt mule deer.
Just rolled into Trinidad, Colorado. Stopped into the local Walmart, got our voucher turned into a tag. Met up with Larry. Just now following him out to the ranch, and we're gonna go get my stuff put away and probably shoot the smoke pole, make sure it's still hitting where it should be, and then we're gonna go up and take a look at a buck that they've been seeing. We're gonna go see if we can find him tonight. Up here glassing with Oscar. Oscar's telling me he's a muy grande. That's what we're looking for, so hopefully he's right. Hopefully he turns up this evening. If not, we'll just keep looking for him. Supposed to be a few good bucks in this area, so just see how it goes.
Even though they couldn't locate the big buck that evening, they were kept entertained by a couple of playful coyotes.
This is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Oscar and I was checking out this water hole, and he found this little garden snake. He's got this salamander in his mouth. He's going to try and eat it. I think he's got a big task ahead of him.
After spending the first few days of Nate's hunt looking for the big buck they were searching for, the only bucks they saw were these two smaller bucks at last light. The next morning, Nate and Oscar decided to try a different area to see what they could turn up. They climbed to a high vantage point where they could glass a lot of country still searching for the buck that Nate was looking for.
Well, we're up here on top of what they call Grinch Peak. Looks just like the peak in the Grinch movie. You can see all across here in every direction. Oscar and I spotted a couple bucks right down here. We've got one, probably 18, 19 inch 4-point, and then we've got about a 22 inch, 23 inch 4-point. So far that's all we've seen down in here today. We can see so much country down in here, it's crazy. All these bucks are still in the velvet too. I'm used to hunting a little farther north, and usually they're rubbing out and shedding their velvet by now. But I haven't seen a buck yet that hasn't had velvet. It's kind of crazy. But, beautiful country down here. We're having a blast.
Not finding what they were after in the high country, Nate and Oscar decided to try their luck down low. With only an hour left of daylight, they slowly skirted the edge of the tree line while glassing a large valley. It didn't take long and Nate spotted a group of bachelor bucks with a potential shooter feeding and making their way up to a water hole. With daylight fading fast, they decided to back out of there and come back the next morning to get a better look at the bigger buck in the group. The next morning, Nate was able to quickly relocate the group of bucks. After taking a few minutes to look the bucks over, Nate decided this was the buck he wanted to try and hang his tag on. They quickly came up with a game plan to circle around the bucks to get in front of them, so they could try and ambush the bucks on the way to their bedding area. The plan worked to perfection as Nate slowly made his way out of the wash. He spotted the bucks just 120 yards in front of him and heading his way. The first buck was a nice one that they hadn't seen before, so Nate had to make a quick decision on whether or not to shoot this buck as he passed by at just 75 yards. Electing to pass on the heavy buck, he turned his attention back to the original deep forked buck he had set his heart on. As the buck came to a stop, he was standing right behind a dead cactus, leaving Nate without a shot. As Nate desperately tried to find an opening to shoot the buck, the wind threw another curveball into the equation and started to swirl. The bucks quickly became nervous and took off running back in the direction they had come from. As Nate followed the deer with his muzzleloader, they finally turned to look back to see what had spooked them. Knowing this might be his last chance at this great buck, Nate quickly took aim.
Get him? Yeah, you did. You did got him. You got him. That's good. Come on, baby, foul. There he goes. You got him good, man.
He's down.
Yes.
Yes. Great shot.
Watch this one more time in slow motion as Nate makes a great 165-yard shot on this buck with open sight.
Well, we're up here in Ludlow, Colorado with the C-Bar-Z Outfitters. Holy cow, look at what we just did. We just made a long stalk. Spotted these bucks early this morning. I think there was 6 or 7 bucks in this.
7 bucks with the group.
In the group. There was one just a little bit heavier, maybe a little taller, but man, I just couldn't pass this guy up. He was a beautiful buck, pretty horns. We've put in our dues, haven't we?
Yeah.
We've been hunting a couple different bucks, and the other ones just didn't quite turn out, but we came down here with Shane last night. We actually spotted this buck. We couldn't get on him, and came back this morning. We found the herd again, and we made one heck of a long stalk.
Oh, yeah.
About a mile and a half.
And the rest is history.
For more information on hunting with C-Bar-Z Outfitters, give Larry Zaponte Jr. a call at 1-719-680-3350. We would also like to thank our sponsors: Primos Hunting, speak the language; Hunter's Trailhead Application Service, your hunt begins and ends at the trailhead; Buck Nuggets, protein feed and attractants; Big Cat Taxidermy, bringing your animals to life; Del Norte Outdoors, home of the Optic Belt.